Welcome into the OddsShopper MMA best bets for UFC Columbus. Of course, UFC Columbus goes down on Saturday. We're headlined by a heavyweight match between Curtis Blaydes and Chris Daukaus, and we are here to talk about the betting side of this fight card. We're going to give you a money line play. Also, we'll give you a three-fighter parlay plus a prop bet. Of course, as always, I'm joined by the fighter Pete Rogers Jr. And Pete, let's just get right into the money line side of the equation. I had a couple, so I just narrowed it down to one. I'm going with an underdog, Chris Gutierrez plus 115 over at BetMGM. I like Gutierrez in this spot. I think the leg kicks will be ultimately the key to his victory. We might have to sweat this one out a little bit, Pete, because of Chris Gutierrez's style, but I do like that line for Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think that there's some value on it. And in a striking affair, Chris Gutierrez has shown no reason to not back him, right? Like he's so exceptional with incorporating leg kicks that really just completely nullify his opponent's offense. And any fighter that's on a leg that's taken a ton of damage, they're not going to be the same fighter moving forward. I think there's value there. So I can't fault you with that because we haven't really seen, Danaa Bakary get stretched out. What happens if he can't find the knockout? I'm kind of looking in another direction where I actually think that there is, a nice little value here. And you're not really getting like incredible odds, but we have Neil Magny sitting at about minus 250 around the market. And I think that's justified because I think that he has just such length for the division, great volume, good aggression, and I think that he has some sneaky takedown upside as well. So my money line play of the week, it's not necessarily the best like line, but I do like him here. I think that he's pretty safe sitting at minus 250.
Yeah, you look at Neil Magny, you talk about that length. It's all, no matter what fight we're talking about with Neil Magny, it is that length and interesting matchup there. So I like Chris Gutierrez. Pete is over on Neil Magny. Now, of course, we always talk about parlays. And so I was looking at parlays, and there's a couple of fighters that I was looking at, and my three fighters that I went with, first off, I like Matt Brown. So fighting in his home state of Ohio in this one. I'm teaming him up with Slava Claus, of course, coming off that great win. Also, give me Curtis Blaydes. So over at BetMGM, that gives us a value of plus 301 on my three-fighter parlay.
I don't hate it at all. I feel like that's going to be like sitting on the edge of your seat type of parlay, which is sometimes what we want, especially as MMA fans. We want to find some exciting matchups, and you're definitely targeting some exciting matchups. My three fighters that I'm going to bank on for my three-fighter parlay, it's going to be, it's going to start with MMAFightingonSBN. Obviously, it's a massive step up in competition, but I think that she is a nice prospect within the division. Pairing that with Neil Magny, as we had just already mentioned, that I like him quite a bit in this matchup against Max Griffin. And finally, the greasy leg of the parlay is going to be Ilir Latifi, which, man, that fight could go ugly. But those three combined get you about plus 159. I think that there is value there just because I think that they are in relatively safe matchups where they should be the A side of the equation.
I will tell you this, call me crazy. I actually like Ilir Latifi in that because first off, when we think about Alexei Oleinik, we think about chokes. Yeah. There's not much of a neck there to choke on, first off. I mean, exactly. So I mean, like, to me, if you're Latifi, it's about staying away from ground game. I actually like him in that spot. And Firo, she is someone that you've talked about for some time now, really liking her. Of course, you already mentioned there about Neil Magny. So my three-fighter parlay, Matt Brown, I'm going Slava Claus and Curtis Blaydes, of course, in the main event. Pete going with MMAFightingon, Neil Magny, and Ilir Latifi. Before we get into our prop bets for this one, do want to let you know about the Best Bets Discord. If you haven't checked out our premium betting picks subscription, now is the time. Click the link below to subscribe to our betting picks Discord channel as Alex Awesemo Baker, Ben Ross, and Steve the Colt Buzzer use Awesemo's industry-leading projection models to identify the best bets available in the NBA, NHL, and college basketball each day. We are confident these bets will be worth more than the price of admission, so click the link below and start betting today. Of course, Sweet 16, Elite 8 this weekend, starting here on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it'll be a great weekend to check out all the best bets we have over here on our Discord channel. Now let's look into the final aspect of this, and this is going to be our prop bet. And there was many prop bets that I looked at, Pete. The one that I'm going to point out to is in the main event. Curtis Blaydes wins via TKO KO -110. The one thing about Curtis Blaydes is we know about his wrestling. But the fact is, when Curtis Blaydes goes to the ground, he ain't playing jiu-jitsu, bro. That is just not what Curtis Blaydes does. Curtis Blaydes is a wrestler. He's a ground and pounder. He doesn't look for submissions. I mean, flat out. He trains with some great jiu-jitsu guys, but that's just not what he does. The problem that I'm pointing to this week is Curtis Blaydes wins via TKO KO -110.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And, when we were sending each other our picks and everything, I was like, dang, Jason got mine. And that's okay, because it means that we're thinking the same thing. I think that the takedowns are going to be too much for Chris Daukaus in this return fight, coming off a nasty knockout. And then in addition to that, Curtis Blaydes really just likes to brutalize his opponents when they're on the mat. So I like that a lot. And I think that it's a relatively safe prop, because we haven't seen, Chris Daukaus, outside of 3 rounds. So, there's a lot of unknowns there, and I think Curtis Blaydes can possibly expose him. I always think that when we're targeting prop bets, you're taking a leap of faith in a way of trying to predict how a fight's going to go. So I'm going to have a bold prop bet, and it's that Joanne Wood wins via decision. It sits at +330 right now. I'm expecting that to be a kickboxing affair, where them going tit for tat on the feet, back and forth. I think that she has the more variety of striking, and I think that her varied attacks can definitely pose problems in a matchup against Alexa Grasso, who's primarily a boxer. Women's MMA comes down to the end a lot of times, and I do think that there is some value in the underdog and squeaking out a decision. So my pick is going to be Joanne Wood wins via decision, sitting at +330.
I don't mind that pick. I think that because when you think about Alexa Grasso, I think more of her as a boxer. This is one of those matchups I expect to play on the feet. I expect this thing to go 15 minutes. I do wonder how much maybe the front kicks will ultimately be what leads Joanne Wood to a victory here. I do like that. I mean, I will tell you this. I think there was other props that I did look at here, but I looked at it and said, you know what? I feel the safest with Curtis Blaydes, and honestly, the -110 number kind of surprised me. But I mean, I like what you're coming with here with that +330, gives us a little juice there. And look, if Joanne Wood wins, I firmly expect that it's going to be by decision. But I would say this: there were some other decision props that I looked at as well.
For sure. I mean, there were tons of prop bets that I was like, okay, that seems safe and that seems okay, and it's definitely possible. But I feel like, if Joanne Wood wins, most likely it's via decision. And that's why I feel like this can be a nail biter of a performance. She's going to want to rebound. And if this stays on the feet, I definitely think that she has some skills that a lot of people are, somewhat sleeping on.
Grasso could be fighting for a title shot here too. So
Yeah,
she's going to be going for. So I think that's going to lead some opportunities for both fighters. But I definitely like that prop bet there. Of course, be sure to keep it locked here to the OddsShopper YouTube channel for all your betting content. Of course, me and Pete will be here before every UFC event. Of course, UFC Columbus on Saturday night, a nighttime card. It's been a while since we had one of those nighttime cards. So I appreciate everyone checking out our OddsShopper MMA Best Picks video. And we will be back in 2 weeks for the next UFC card, which is UFC 273.